Welcome to the Future 3 podcast. I'm Sean.
I'm Shaylor. And I'm Cyan.
And we are the Future 3 podcast.
Today's guests went from San Antonio to Boston to New York City and then planted his flag in New Jersey to do something most people overlook. Make kids actually like going to the dentist. Yep, you heard me. Like going to the dentist. He's a pediatric dentist who trained at Tufts University of Dental Medicine, completed a residency in New York City, and went back for advanced pediatric specialty training. He's a sports guy, a family guy, and someone who chose a career that requires equal parts clinical skill and genuine connection with kids. And he mastered both. Please welcome to the Future 3 podcast, Dr. Geoffrey Gonzales.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Welcome. This can be a fun episode because I know a lot of kids don't like going to the dentist, but I mean, we go to you. It's pretty fun. I can't lie. It's a good atmosphere there.
No, I appreciate that. That's a good thing to hear.
So, I mean, look, I want to start with this before we get into anything about your journey, because you've been in the dental field for about over 15 years, right?
Correct.
So, I mean,
correct. 15 years, man. It goes
Yeah.
fast.
Long time. So, I mean, you've seen a lot of different kids, chatted with a lot of different personalities. So, one thing that I'm really wondering about is, what is the most creative excuse a kid has ever come up with for not brushing their teeth?
I get a lot of them, and that's a good question. Most of them say, my mom didn't put the toothpaste out. Oh, my mom, I don't know where the toothpaste is. You didn't buy me a toothbrush, or my brother took my toothbrush, so I didn't have to brush. So
It's
I
never
mean,
their fault.
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, and the parents say it's right there, just grab it. So that's pretty much one of the big ones. Or I dropped it on the floor and I didn't want to reuse it. But most of it is honestly like, you didn't tell me where the toothbrush was.
That's
They
funny.
actually
Never
got
their
it
fault.
straight. I'm telling you, I don't know where it is, and it's like saying like it's in one room. It's a box called the bathroom, and it ought to be in like a cup. It's there, you know. But
Yeah, and I got
a little more guidance. That's all.
Yeah, and I got one more for you. So you love sports,
I do.
whether it's basketball, baseball, football, soccer. If you had to pick one sport that really relates to your career, which one would it be and why?
Oh man, that's a good one. I'm a diehard, as you guys know, Spurs fan.
Yeah,
That's it. That's my love. I love the sport of football. I'm a Cowboys guy, and you guys know.
Boo.
I know y'all are
Cowboy.
Eagles boys, but that's okay. Y'all have the rights. Y'all been whooping it. It's good. You know, in relation towards, I have to say how it's worked with my office and my progression. I'd have to say Cowboys and football, only because not too many people care for my San Antonio Spurs. Most of them are Cowboy fans here on the East Coast. Believe it or not, there's a lot of Cowboy fans. So the kids have that. So that helps, bring together that relationship. And whatever you can have with kids, whether it's anime, sports, communication, that's huge. So the Cowboys kind of bring it together, or it'll not necessarily drift it apart exactly with you guys. It's a conversation we can hold because it's football, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just the sport itself, football, it does bring things together, whether people know it or not.
Yeah, I think you're the only Spurs fan I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, not gonna lie.
You're probably right. I've been on the East Coast now since in New Jersey since 2010. I only have one friend that is a Spurs fan.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Everybody says, "Oh, I like the Spurs," but they're not fans. Like, oh, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll take the one fan.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, you were born in San Antonio. So let's go to high school. You have no degree yet, and you're just a teenager trying to figure it out. Was medicine or science always the plan?
Science was, and science is been my thing since I was a kid. National Geographic. I mean, who doesn't want to watch whales breaching and sharks getting it, shark attacks. Uh, things going on in Africa, crazy lions, Bengal tigers. That to me is awesome. Science was number one, easily by far. And I think it's very interesting for a lot of kids. And that's kind of the hook. going into health was later on, not till like my junior year. So high school, strictly science, nothing towards literally health, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, for science, you did biology, right? That was your big thing?
Yeah, I did bio. I love it.
I mean, in high school, it isn't very common. It's not a very common plan for most of them. But did you do anything that kind of built towards it, like AP classes, internships, shadowing, or have any mentors?
So here's where it gets funny. Not funny, but an open option. Um, My family, there's nobody that was professionals in a sense of health professionals, doctors, no nurses. Graduate of my older cousins on my father's side, nobody went to college. My mother's side, two of my cousins went to college. It wasn't a thing to do. Right after high school, it's just to work. And that depends on your culture and your guidance and your education. And that's where us as adults come in to guide you guys. You can't be taught too much of character, but you can guide it. It's been built on. So my parents gave me a strong character and communications where I can be fine, whatever I do. But it wasn't anything towards shadowing. I did some in high school, but not much. My main thing was, like I said, science. Not till college did I start doing shadowing.
Wow.
Yeah, and like students right now, they don't even know what they want to do in their future yet, most of them. But if you're looking back to high school, what is one thing you wish you were told about trying to find your direction?
Okay. With that direction thing, I want to say it was towards later on in high school because, like I said, my education level wasn't hard. Um, and I can't say this thing was a bad thing, but when I was a senior applying for colleges, I knew where all my friends were going. University of Texas, Texas A&M, all of these. And I felt I was doing all my applications. I made all the good grades. I applied and I didn't know the knowledge about in order to get in school finances, there's tuition. You guys know tuition, right? When I
Yeah.
was a senior, I got into the schools, I did all the paperwork myself and I turned it in and they need the signature for the financials to pay for the tuition. And my folks didn't know anything about that. They didn't know about loans or anything in that sense. So when I handed that thing, that paperwork to my parents and said, "Hey, I got into school. I did all the paperwork, the dorm, the school," and they're like, we didn't know about this. There was loans that could have been done, and my parents didn't know that. And I did this. I showed this to them about 3 weeks before starting college, and they couldn't do it. There was no thing about signing that. I can't pay for this. But at the same time, there's some kids that don't know. So in high school, having that extra knowledge for me of knowing for the next step, it would have been great. But how was I to know that? And like I said, with that type of knowledge, I ended up going to community college for first 2 years. And that was a strength that, built me as a character because I had to pay my own way.
Wow. So pediatric dentistry isn't just about knowing teeth, right? It's also you also have to read a kid and stay calm while also communicating and building trust with not only the kid, but also the parents. Were those kind of soft skills that you built in high school or did that come later on?
That's a difference. That's a skill that you're born and built with from the person that built you, your parents. Your parents build you there. Your character is built off your parents. If you know French, your parents taught you French. With this type of character, my mom is a sweetheart. My dad's a cool dude. Whatever, they meshed up and they came out with me. And that type of character at home helped me with my job today. Cause I have people that way they were growing up, how can I relate to them? You have to think about saying things before they even ask, and that makes it confidence, build confidence in the parent with the kid. You always talk about in my field, you don't just go into dentistry and be like, "How's your cavity? What is going on?" No, you talk about their day, their people. You're a person.
Yeah.
What's going on? Did you check the game out? Yeah, cool. How was breakfast? You got to go towards that. No one wants to jump right in. They don't want to go to the dentist, first of all.
Yeah.
You got to blend it in a way that makes it comforting. Don't try to be like, I need to do all of this stuff in one day. No, no, no. Can't do that. You can't build relationships that way. Doesn't work, man.
Yeah, having that trust is very, very important because that trust can also bring in new customers who you could also gain the trust with, which could bring in even more customers, which could really help your company.
You're right. You're right. And I don't say customers, I say patients. And then one of my big things is we say from patient to friendship to like family. Okay. And that's how we dress. And that's gained within the years with our patients. First one shake their hand. How you doing? I'm Dr. Gonzales. I'm shaking the dad's hand. After that, next time I see him after 3, 4 years, I'm seeing the dad, handshake, hug. You build these relationships and you trust them, because they're bringing their child to you or themselves to you. And that's a big thing because they're relying on you to make that decision for them and their child. You got to put them in a good spot. And once you build it and everybody's happy, it goes a long way.
Yeah, and it's kind of like going to a barber shop with the barber. It's like every time you go, like, let's say you're going to get a haircut every 2 weeks, the barber is going to build a connection with you because they want you to keep coming back,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you don't
And
want
that
to go
kind
to
of,
a barber that's doesn't talk to you, right?
exactly. I'd definitely rather go to a more friendly guy than, just someone who just does the haircut and I leave. Yeah, like our barber, we're always talking about soccer, like Liverpool,
Mhm.
how they're doing through the season. It's great.
It's
Yeah.
good, and that's a big plus because that's communication. And, communication, no matter which direction of, future everybody goes to, it's key. It goes a long way how you present yourself and to your patient or customer or client.
Mhm. And now look, let's fast forward a little bit, right? You've built all these soft skills throughout your high school life, from your life at home and your life at school as well with all your different friends. So I mean, you go from San Antonio down to UT Austin after going to community college for those 2 years, which then you lock in your biology degree. And then you make a massive jump all the way to Boston, which is just a completely different place, right? So I mean, there you're going to Tufts, and what was that jump even like? Because that's you're going from the South of America all the way up to the Northeast, which is I don't even wanna know how long that flight was. I mean, but, like, you're going all the way to Boston, so what was that move like? And was there ever really a point where you were kinda questioning if you were on the right road?
So there's things in life where you say you just got to do. You have to go and you have to accept it. And it's a mental battle where you go for. It was the first time I was separated from my family in that distance. The drive that I did it with my father, and it was an awesome drive. That little experience from me driving to Boston, Massachusetts with my dad in a U-Haul truck. We hung out. He had his music, I had my music, and we would rotate. I would drive. Like, people talk about road trips. That was an awesome road trip for me to hang out with just me and my dad for those 2.5 days of straight driving. But the transition from Texas to the East Coast was big in a sense of temperature. Okay. I've seen snow one
Yep.
time in my life. Uh, I own more coats now than anything. All right. Um, Back in Texas, spring break is March. I'm at the beach over here. It's still a little chilly, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a big difference. People are a little nicer back home. Sorry, fellas, but that's just what it is. Um, and that was one of the big things. And your friendships with all your friends, it gets a little, separated. And then you get, when you're in dental school, it's boom, boom, boom of studies, and that kind of help distracts missing home because you miss home and your friendship. You are basically alone, but there's other dudes and ladies friends that are there at doing the same thing you're doing, so it's a growth that a mental growth that I respect. And I'm jumping here, but I call it like one of the E's in college when you guys decide is two E's is education, which is strong, but I also agree with the thing to gain is experience.
Yeah.
And that experience of going to another state for anybody is huge, where you could gain these responsibilities in a smooth, easy way. And that goes a long way to build character.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about that time at dental school, I mean, let's be honest here, dental school has a reputation for being pretty brutal, right?
Yeah.
Like, not only are you focusing on the sciences of it, but you're also focusing on literally
performing things in people's mouth with your hands with like complete precision, which I think is absolutely like super hard. But for you, what was the hardest part of that experience? Was it the science part of it, or was it the hands-on stuff that you were doing?
Hands-on is a breeze for me.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it's doing hand stuff. It's not hard. Science level of when they throw different subjects at a curriculum that is just stacked and stacked and stacked. I'm talking 10 tests a week. You know, it's a heavy load, and it is stressful your first 2 years, but it's rewarding down the line, and that's one thing to understand. It's not just a word or phrase. Hey, study hard, you'll be fine later on. Go check out some people that made it. And I like to say that I am one of those persons. I didn't come up with this, or I didn't come up with that, and now our lifestyle is very comfortable.
And I mean, look, while you were at Tufts, you just told us about how insane the testing was. But on top of that, you also pursued some research outside of just the work that you were doing in was it dental adhesives, something?
We had to do research when you do research in your specialty of pediatrics. So with my pediatric skills, we were taught orthodontics and pediatrics. 1 week, 5 days, 3 days pediatrics, 2 days orthodontics. So our thing towards the research, we had to do a thing required, not an option, was adhesive. When you put a filling, you got to put some adhesive glue to make sure
Yeah.
it bonds. So at the same time, I'm studying different products in the lab, trying mechanics where certain pressures will hit a filling to see how much it comes off. So you're in the lab doing this, and this is a requirement where you have to do to get it published. And the paper got published, so that was pretty cool.
You were just talking about adhesive. Is that the stuff that they put behind the braces so that like it sticks to your teeth?
So when you clean the tooth off, you got a clean tooth here. Then you have to put like this little glue stuff, and you always see me use that light, right?
Yeah.
That light activates the bonding agent. Okay. And then after that, you put like the paste, the glue on top of that, and then the metal bracket. So you have to put two things on before the metal bracket.
Oh,
So
I
I
thought
mean
it was
that's a
just
pretty important step then, right? The
Oh
adhesive,
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. But there's
right,
like
and the brace
you
doesn't
have to
stick.
have that step, and then if that's a bad product, your braces are just gonna break off and fail. Or if the doctor doesn't follow the right protocol and putting it on, it's gonna break.
I always wondered what that light was doing.
Yeah, the light, it's called a curing light. It sets the different chemical formations where it's gonna make it from liquid to more of a bonding reaction.
Yeah, every time I'm like, guys, the light's on. I don't know why you need an extra light, but
Yeah,
now I know why.
they use it, man, and you got to use it. And the strength of that light, it differs. Some is kind of weak, some is strong. So when they put it by your gums, it's a little more intense, a little warm. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, after dental school, you did a general practice residency in New York City,
Correct.
which is not too far from Boston, right? It's about 5-hour drive, give or
Correct.
take. So, and then after that, you go right back to Tufts for pediatric specialty training on top of that. So, I mean, that's a lot of years of schooling right there between your normal college, then the dental school, then the residency, and then back to dental school. So, I mean, that's for a teenager thinking about going into medicine or even dentistry. What do you have to tell them about the road ahead before they fully commit to this journey?
The timetable of it, where you people say it's so long of school, you got to throw that one out the window. That doesn't work because the timetable was fine. I finished dental school at the age of, I think it was 27. Okay. People might see that. Yeah, it's a little older. I have friends that are having kids at 22, but being successful as a dentist is great. I want to say it's going to take a little longer to get there, 3 years maybe. Security is a little more stable, and stability is good, and that's a good thing to understand. It's not a thing to be scared of. The schooling or the time, that's nothing that bugs me, honestly, and it shouldn't bug anybody. But it is intimidating because with you guys, y'all are seeing the time. You see the time. Oh, that's so long you know, dental school is this long. Dental school flies by. And as you guys know, your schooling right now is flying by. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're noticing it. And this is when you do notice it. So when I chose my residency after dental school, it was at a specialty residency in New York where I'm dealing with people with autism, special needs, handicapped people. So you have to build up the mental strength at the same time. So is pediatrics going to work for me? Because it is stressful when you deal with kids that are autism. I deal with autism every day. It's a beautiful thing to help out these parents, that see, watery eyes parents that come in like success. I went to 4 dentists and this guy couldn't do anything and you're able to clean his teeth or he opened for you. Just to say he opened for me, you're thinking like he just opened, but like that's an accomplishment for these parents. And that's when you're successful. That's when your rewards come in. That type of thing. It's not the money.
Exactly, and that goes back to when we were talking earlier about building your soft skills.
Yeah.
Like, think about it, you being able to have a conversation with these kids, being able to build connections with these kids is what kind of builds the trust for them to actually trust you to clean their teeth. So, I mean, that just goes to show you that, like, even, like, looking back, that those soft skills are kinda what helped you throughout your whole career, even leading up to today, where you're able to have conversations with all your different patients and build connections and build trust to even get more clients in the future.
Yeah, so now let's fast forward 15 years. You're an ADA member, New Jersey Dental Association, American Association in Pediatric Dentistry, and you're working with kids on the daily. You treat special needs children, and you're doing interceptive orthodontics. You trained in nucleus oxide sedation. That is a serious, serious range. But let's put the resume on the side for a second. What does your actual day look like, and what does this career feel like from the inside?
So nitrous oxide, that's a sedation, a light sedation that we use on kids. In the mornings, kids do better in the morning appointments with sedations. So when we sedate kids, light sedations, that's our morning from 9 to whatever 1. Why do we do that? Because it takes a lot of energy from us to talk to the kid, to build them comfortable. You have 4 hands in their mouth. There's a water, there's a drill thing going in there and cleaning it out. And you have to be patient with this child for this sedation thing. Some kids don't like sound, they don't like the way it sounds or like the way it feels. You show them on their hand, it's a baby step thing. We do it in the morning. We have energy. The patients do better. The assistants have energy. One assistant, if they're not doing great, it kind of messes the whole flow with the front desk as well. But that's where we work better because we need to be better for the afternoon patients as well. Afternoon patients, mainly cleanings for us, where we do the exams with the orthodontics, the braces, changing wires. And that depends on um, the office, and what the doctor feels comfortable with and how they feel that they need to build. In the initial stages of building an office, you're going to see whatever you can because you need to bring income into the office. I need to do a nitrous oxide, put them at 3 o'clock, but they can't eat 3 hours before that. Oh, the parent will tell them not to eat at this time. So that becomes on scheduling. So how you schedule your patients on a regular day is going to vary with each doctor. For us, that's our stability.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of what you said earlier about how football relates back to your career. Like the structure of a football team, like the Dallas Cowboys, for example, you gotta have everything scheduled and everything has to be during the right time, right?
I thought you were going to say they were going to fall apart, but that's,
Yeah,
that's how it could fall
but
apart.
at the end they fall apart.
Yes, yes. No, it does have to be. So a lot of offices have morning huddles before a patient walks in. We review that patient before an autistic patient. They only like SpongeBob. We'll have to put SpongeBob on the thing. If not, they don't listen and they'll get, more aggressive. They won't want to open. They don't want the lights on. Okay, so let's shut the lights off. We read all our notes and our highlights before they come in. You have to be prepared for each thing. We don't let them see a syringe when we have to do anesthesia. That goes for every child. We cover everything up. We don't show them. Everything is hidden behind them. Our technique, whether when we numb, has to be flawless. If you give something that the kid sees and doesn't like, they're jumping out of the chair like, whoa, what was that? So I call it my pointy fingernails. I put a gel on the mouth to numb it for like 5 minutes, and then I use my fingernails that are pointy, and that's when I numb with a needle. Those little steps, you don't want to fumble, if you want to say. And then we have kids that are immune compromised where these patients they get sick easy. So we book them in the morning. We have to be prepared for them in the morning. We put them in a small room. We open up the windows for natural air to come through. everybody's wearing our masks, so it makes them feel comfortable. Like I said, this is a communication thing, a preparedness, and something that they enjoy at the same time, and it shows that you do care because you're going the little extra mile just to be normal. To be honest, with you, a good person.
Yeah, and going back to that Dallas Cowboys analogy, forgot to mention if you were saying that if one thing goes wrong, everything can fall apart. That kind of goes with the Dallas Cowboys because like if Dak Prescott gets injured or your owner makes a bad mistake as usual, they're not going to the Super Bowl, right? Is that kind of how it works in your?
Hasn't worked for the last 20 years, man. For Jones coming through, Prescott fumbling, butt fumble, across the thing, pick, and it's true. Like your formation, your preparedness for every game, like they got to do it for the game. We got to do it for every patient. And if you do drop the ball, it's not going to be the best. So we have to go to this section because right now AI is everywhere. So let's talk about it real quick. So as we know, AI is everywhere and the dentistry and medicine part of it is no exception. How has AI showed up in dentistry? Good question. So it's making its introduction the last couple of years. So one thing that it shows is on X-rays, it highlights where the cavities are. Okay, we see them. It's mainly for the patient to help understand. I could point it on the X-ray. They might believe me or not. Now the AI points on the X-ray and makes it pink or orange, and they're like, "Oh, well, the computer says it." But I'm like, "I just told you that too." The AI that has been developing where it's kind of taking over or helps aid a dental office is front desk. Um, where the phone gets answered by AI. It could book the appointment, it could move the appointment, cancel, those type of things. And that's something we actually had a meeting last week because for us, we could say, okay, let's use it. But then we have to change our whole software platform and train everybody to see if it works because this is new for the last like year. And if it's bad and then you change and you train everybody, that's a loss of time and income because you're paying your whole staff to listen and try this out. And if it goes bonkers, it doesn't work, you just lost your time and all the money that you paid your staff to learn. So AI is coming in that direction. And I think it's good because it's going to help doctors book appointments, cancel appointments. But in the sense of it being like hands on doing that stuff, it's not that.
I mean, it's been a great chat with you. But before we flip the tables for you to ask us some questions, I have tables. Fine, turn the tables, I guess.
Whatever you feel like, my man.
Yeah. So, I mean, my question for you is, what is your definition of success, and how has it changed from your high school days all the way to today?
Definition says easy is not money. That's one thing. Um, what you can provide is big, and one of the main things is doing what's right and good. Okay, no matter where direction you go, you should always do what's right and what's good. Unfortunately, some people will see, well, I can do a fill in and put a crown on this too. They don't really need it, but I'm gonna make 3 times the money. That's not where it should be. So finances isn't it, a sense of building your character and building relationships and networking with the right people and putting yourself on the right path with people around you on your core and your bubble. That's success because happiness is where it needs to be. You could talk to people that never went to school, happiest butterfly in the garden, man.
Yeah.
That's the truth. It's not the money and it shouldn't be the money. If it is the money, the core that built you was focused on finances.
Yeah.
That's a great piece of advice right there.
Yeah, it really is. Because I feel like, I mean, most high schoolers would probably see money being success, but
Of course.
as you grow, obviously your definition of success changed. As you could see here, like it's more about the impact and the emotional connection rather than just the plain money part of it,
It
right?
is. And these types of things, you're not going to know it until you actually do it, and you're not going to see it. And this is the experience that you go with, and it makes your heart warm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now it's time to turn the tables.
You turn
We
it to
really
me, huh?
we really appreciated you answering all of our questions, but now
it's time for you to ask us some questions.
Ask you a question. I have a question for you. One thing is what my two questions, guys, are for you. Um, One of them is what we've been talking about. That's communication. You know,
Yeah.
being able to communicate and bridge that relationships with someone. Yes, it's going to be someone that could be from your the Eagles, your culture, ethnicity. Those are one things, but you have to. Are you able? Have you been able to challenge yourself to be like, okay, this is person that doesn't really speak English, different ethnicity and a different, different race or something. What challenges have you tried to make things? Because you got to remember, like the communication part is big. It's easy for you, but now you need to jump to yourself and make it for that person where you could communicate to make it easier for them. So this is where I want
Yes.
to focus on you guys with communication. Have you been in a tough area where you could communicate with someone, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so one thing I always try to do is in school, when I'm in Spanish class, I'm always trying to talk to my teacher in Spanish because you never know when you're going to meet someone and like you said before, they don't speak the same language that you speak. So I'm just trying to challenge myself with that.
That's good. And that's good. The teacher says, oh, you're trying Spanish, but also the other thing to see it past that is you're doing effort and you're making that, the moves to try and make yourself better at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I feel like, yeah, there has been tough situations where I've been able to talk through it, especially in like sports. Like, we play soccer. There's been times in games where like, me included, like teammates are just getting angry at each other. I feel like when you're just able to talk it through with your teammates to try to just get everyone's perspectives to try to put them together and find a solution, that's where I kind of find my like communication skills kicking in tough situations.
No, that's good because two things you got to have it where one some person will hold it in and just, stay full angered with it. If you could break that apart and bring it together, you're doing communication and you're also doing leadership.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, when usually, because I sometimes get angry for like random things, so I just usually just try to talk it out with my parents. And if like, as he said, if one of my teammates get angry at the other, I just try and break it up and have them talk it out with each other.
Yeah, and that's like one thing. And as you do these things, you'll see it. It's weird, but it works.
Yeah,
It works,
it
right?
does.
Another thing for you on communication wise is people think communication is like just words.
Mhm.
Your body language,
Yep.
take a deep breath when you get it, and then that's the type of communication that you have. When you're playing soccer, you just give your brother like the nod. That means I'm going, lob, give me a lob and I'm on. Those are the type of communication things that come when you see someone who's uh not in the best thing. Believe it or not, a smile is contagious. And you don't need to speak any language. You just smile, the other person will smile. If you smile at someone, just walk down the street, smile, they might smile at you back. And that's you made a communication, believe it or not. And it's
Yeah.
good. It makes other people feel good. Goes a long way, man. And I stress that so much for you guys, so much for you to learn to communicate because that's gonna take you so far.
Yeah, agreed. I think communication is gonna be great, especially with the oncoming of AI. Just being able to communicate with other people, build a connection, be able to build long-lasting relationships. That's what's really gonna set people apart in the future.
Yeah, because a lot of people might rely too much on the AI.
Exactly.
It's gonna get
Mhm.
heavy sided, and other people are gonna see like, well, how do you communicate?
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
not gonna work that way, man. Unfortunately,
Agreed. Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. It's been a pleasure having you on.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I thank you for having me, guys. It's awesome to see you guys doing this communication as well,
Yeah.
helping other people because these are type of steps that you're growing with your leadership, with your character. It's gonna help other people to see like I can do that too.
Yeah.
Little things that you do, people are seeing it and they're actually gonna, grow off that as well.
Appreciate that.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
You guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Threads, Facebook, even. Follow everywhere, guys. Comment, interact with us. We will interact with you back. Don't worry. That's my job. We are the Future 3 Podcast, and we out.
Peace.